Come on in. Tell me how you're doing. I'm here with my viral wisdom and a cup of tea. I know I normally do it in the afternoons on Sunday, but today I took the day off and had a day of other stuff. But I'm here now. Hi guys, come on in. It's Viral Wisdom 69. Hello everyone. Tell me where you're signing in from. What are you struggling with? Uruguay. I love that. What are you struggling with? What's coming up for you wherever you are, whatever part of the world? Vegas, Wisconsin. How many of you have bought my book? That's what I really want to know. How many of you have bought this book? Buy it. It's the best gift you can give to any parent and kid out there. It's full of amazing resources. It is the book of the times because it talks about anxiety and how to help yourself and your kids with anxiety. It's really geared for kids, but I know many adults have such a hard time with their kids having anxiety. So go buy this book. What are you struggling with? Well, anger issues with your 10-year-old could be disguised anxiety, so buy the book. Struggling being a full-time single mom, I get it. I get it. What are you struggling with right now? Do tell us in the chat box. I want to hear. Anastasia bought the book. I love it. Struggling with path to purpose. Okay. So the main premise of this book is really what I want to talk about today in a different way, but it's kind of connected to this book. So the main premise of this book is transforming our way of looking at our anxiety, transforming it. And really what I want to help us with today is how do we transform our fears, our anxieties? How do we move things around? Sorry, I'm so distracted reading all your comments. Okay, I'm going to focus. So, what I want to talk about right now is that, especially right now, we can see that suffering and anxiety abounds. It's everywhere you look. People are struggling. And if we're not struggling, we're like, yay, we're surviving. But thriving really seems, now we're pushing it. We're either just struggling or we're surviving. But to thrive, what does that require, right? How can we enter that transcendent state of thriving? And the only way really that we can do this, and here's what you need to listen in on if you want to know how to thrive, because it'll take a little while for me to break it down. So the only way to really thrive in any difficult crisis situation, not survive, not just struggle and not just get through it, but to thrive, to go to another level, is only possible one way. It's only possible when you do not subscribe to a judgment about what is happening to you. The minute you subscribe to a judgment, typically that this is bad, this what is happening to me is bad. The minute you give a judgment to it, that this shouldn't be, that this is bad, you are now on a downward trend into the gutter of suffering. What does this mean? This means you have to have so much mental acumen, so much power, but really wisdom, to understand that what you're seeing may seem bad because it's against culture's way of defining paradigms, culture's way of defining life. But if you're wise, you should know that culture is extremely simple, extremely dualistic. Good and bad, tall and thin, rich and poor. It's simple. And good and bad is the duality that really messes our head up. Because culture has decided, you see, what's good and bad. Culture has decided what is appropriate and inappropriate, what is success and what is failure, what is happiness and what is sadness. Culture has designed this for you. Culture has decided what is good or bad. I was just watching a bit of the movie The Glorias. My friend recommended it to me, so I just was watching a piece of it. And the father, Gloria Steinem's father, says, well, if you don't know tomorrow, if you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and he used to wait for her to complete the sentence. And the sentence completion was, it could be wonderful. What this means at a deeper level is stop presuming and attaching to lack, to bad. Bad, something is bad, unless it is a violent assault of your physical space. Most of the other bad can be reconstructed in your mind. But this is where your power to transform your mind comes in. Culture will give you a whole lot of bad on a tray and go bad, 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 bad. And the minute you get the bad, we've been conditioned to resist the bad, to hate the bad, to be scared of the bad, because we've bought in to what culture has told us is bad, 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 bad. And the minute you do that, and now you're playing a game between you and the thing, you are losing your power. Because you're already on the slope going into the gutter. Because you've already decided that it's bad. You've not even decided, actually. Because half the things we don't even decide. We just subscribe to it. So Goli says, well, what if you're kicked by a 3-year-old and the screaming hurts your ears? Well, if you're kicked by a 3-year-old, it's a good thing. Because you have a fully alive 3-year-old. You thought you could have a 3-year-old and not be kicked? What kind of 3-year-old do you want? Next, she says, what if it's hurting your ears? If it's hurting your ears, it's between you and your kid screaming. It doesn't mean that it's really hurting. It's you've decided that the screaming is hurting. You can develop a whole new relationship with your kid screaming. You can go, wow, my kid is alive. I wanted this darn kid. Now I'm so happy the kid is screaming. Wow. You own your decision. You own your choices. There is nothing bad at the end of the day if it's not physical assault, Slavery was bad. It was a physical encapturing of people's bodies. The Holocaust was bad. Rape is bad, because when your physical self is assaulted, we have to say bad for that, only because we stop that. We want to stop that. But at the end of the day, everything is created here. And culture gives us a whole lot of bad. And culture gives us things on a tray and tells us bad, 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 bad. And we like robots say, okay, I'll suffer, I'll suffer, I'll suffer, I'll suffer, I'll suffer. And we immediately create an antipathy and an animosity and a resistance towards that which is bad, instead of understanding that most of what we're seeing is neutral. It's up to us to construct how this is going to fit into our lives. So that's what this whole book is about for a kid. You have anxiety, but the anxiety is yours to create, yours to transform, yours to own. Don't think it's bad. You get to make whatever you need out of your anxiety. So culture has taught us now that this COVID thing is bad. Why? Because our lives are disrupted. Why? Because we have to wear a mask. Why? Because our jobs have potentially gone on the line. Why? Because death has occurred. All of this is true. Now, all of this is really painful, but it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just very, very painful. And because we have associated pain with badness, most of life, unless it goes swimmingly well, is something that causes suffering. Because pain is bad. So anything that's painful, we immediately resist it and we label it as bad. And the minute we label pain as bad, we're screwed, because pain is everywhere. Pain is part of life, but it's not bad. It's just painful. And because we don't know the difference between pain is painful and pain is bad, we're suffering more than we need to. Pain is painful. Losing someone you love is inexhaustibly sad and difficult, but it's not bad. Losing a job is painful, but who said it's bad? Losing a spouse in a divorce is painful, but who said it's bad? You see, the judgment of bad is a man-made judgment. And the only time I try to use it in my life, when I'm in big mind. In small mind, I use it all day long. But when I'm in my wise mind, the only time I really try to call something bad is if it has to do with physical encroachment, physical assault. I'm like, that is bad. We got to stop that. But all the rest is mental. So to know the difference between this is painful versus this is bad is really important, to know how to move in the suffering. Both are suffering, but they're different kinds of suffering. When you understand pain is painful, and it's suffering, but you lean into the pain and you integrate the pain and you let the pain talk to you, and you and the pain become one. But when you say this is bad, now you're not leaning into it. You have an antipathic relationship with it. You're moving away from it. Antagonism. And it's resistance. Now it's you versus this thing that you've called bad. Now your suffering exponentializes. Because you never integrate it. You never understand it. You never lean into it. You never become one with it. You never grow. But so the difference between pain is painful versus this is bad, pain is painful versus pain is bad, is a very key distinction. So at other times in my life, when I feel myself tearing up or protesting in righteousness, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore, I ask myself, are you resisting this right now because it's painful? Or are you resisting this right now because you bought into the fact that it's bad? And it's always because I've bought into the fact that it's bad. And then I do the work. Why is it bad? Because I don't like it. Why is it bad? But why don't you like it? Because it's not the way it should be. But why isn't it the way it should be? Because it's not the way that makes me feel happy. But who said you need to be happy all the time? Because that's how I like to be. Because I want to be. Well, you sound like a 3-year-old. Yes. And then when I shift and I go, well, if it isn't bad, what is it? It's just painful. Bloody hell, it's painful. But it's different. Now my tears are out of just genuine grieving, out of shedding, out of letting go, out of pure release, out of surrender. But when it's out of pain is bad, then I'm angry, I'm irritable, I'm frustrated, I'm projecting on everyone, I'm in a bad mood. So, pain is bad versus pain is painful. The next time you're in resistance, ask yourself, why am I in resistance? And most of it will be because you have decided that what you are going through is something you shouldn't go through. What you're going through is something that you are above. You shouldn't have to go through this. You shouldn't have to endure this. You have made a judgment around your pain. And trust me, we're all making judgment around our pain. Because no one wants to feel pain. Who wants to feel pain? Does anyone really want to feel pain? No. But guess what? You can run, but you can't hide. Because pain is going to come finding you and bite you. Because life is painful. Life is bloody, bloody painful. People are painful. Don't you find people painful? Now more so in America than ever. I mean, like 50, 60% of Americans. To each other, we're all painful to each other. You know why? Because our belief systems are not matching. You see, these belief systems are the cause of suffering. And the more you're strict and adhering to one belief system and you're zealot about it, you're going to have and create suffering. So the minute we have a belief system that I am good and you are bad, or this is good and that is bad, we are in trouble. Now recently, in one of my posts a few days ago, maybe last week, I did kind of say something was unconscious. And people thought I was saying that they're bad. I said if you vote for a certain person in America, you are unconscious. You're voting for unconsciousness. People thought I was telling them that they are bad. I wasn't saying any such thing. I was just saying there's a conscious choice and an unconscious choice. And there's a more conscious choice and then there's a more unconscious choice. But it doesn't mean bad. You see, but we're so accustomed to hearing the word bad. And we're so accustomed to creating a simplistic duality of good and bad, good and bad, good and bad, just based on whether something agrees with our belief system or not. Something is good if it believes what we believe. Something is bad if it's anti what we believe. Simple. The minute something goes against one of our shoulds, in this book we call it shouldifying, to teach the kids not to shouldify, don't should over yourself. But adults are shouldifying all the time. And the minute something goes against our should, it's painful. But we call it bad. And the minute we move from pain is painful to pain is bad, very different energies. When we go pain is bad, then we look for the person who has caused us this pain. Now we're out there going to blame people, going to fight, going to justify, going to ratify, going to rationalize. Now we're on the hunt for who caused me this pain because it is bad. But when you accept that pain is painful and you accept that painful is part of life, you're not looking to go hunt on a witch hunt for the person who caused you pain. You begin to understand why the pain is caused. Most pain is caused because life goes against how we thought it should go. Simple. When someone dies, it's painful because we're losing them, but a lot of it is because it shouldn't be this way. When we lose our job, yes, it's painful, but a lot of our pain is because we're like, damn it, I shouldn't lose my job. And why do we have shoulds? Because we have good and bad. If we don't have good and bad, and we're open in the moment to, like Gloria Steinem's father said, if you don't know tomorrow, it could be wonderful. But I go even one step deeper to say, if you don't know what it is, just stay neutral. Just stay open. How to stay open. How to stay in a state of suspended animation. But we're so quick to go into scarcity. We're so quick to go into fear because the unknown brings about fear that we can't stay in suspended animation. And that, my friends, is the secret of the wise life, is to stay suspended in the unknown, and stay there. Because when you stay in the unknown, doesn't mean you're a fool, doesn't mean you're ignorant. You're actually completely open and attuned to listening, to understanding where you should go next. You know, everyone asks me how to live in flow. And I go, oh, no. You don't want to know how to live in flow. Because to live in flow is to live naked, emotionally naked. To live always attuned to you and the present moment. You and the present moment. To live in flow is to be suspended in surrender. Artists live in flow, athletes in the zone live in flow, musicians live in flow. There are lots of other places you can live in flow. But what does it take to live in flow? It takes a suspension of good and bad. It takes a suspension of wanting to know the next moment. And when you are in tune with life, you are without belief systems. You see, you can't have belief systems about how things should be, about who is right and who is wrong, if you live in your mind, if you live in the mind, you cannot live in flow. Because the mind is fixed with belief systems, and belief systems are the obstructor of flow. Because belief systems are always dictating how you should live, how things should be, how people should be. So, to live in flow means to live in the present moment, open and awake, attuned and aware, ready to flow and adjust and adapt to the next moment, moment after moment after moment after moment. So this takes tremendous surrender. It takes emotional nudity to be ready to face the present moment naked, devoid of the energy of I should know, it should be. And death, in a way, is the greatest game changer. Because when you die to yourself, or you die to your old self, or your loved one dies, or you lose a job, and you're in a state of dissolution, destruction, it is actually the most powerful state, because you finally realize that all that you were holding on to was an illusion. And when somebody is taken away from you through death, you begin to realize, okay, I've been clinging to things, and I can't cling to things. Things can't give me joy, and I can't cling to even people, because people are going to die. But this is not about morbidity, it being a moribund possibility. This is about understanding that your state of eternal transience is actually your release. It's actually the death of stagnation. It's actually your ticket to freedom. When you stop living according to a fixed ideal of how things should be, you cannot attach to anything. You must detach from everything. And when you reach this state of detachment, constant release, constant surrender, you're actually in a state of suspended animation. You're in a state of eternal and now, and now, and now, and now, and now. Not the and now what? It's the what now. The now becomes alive. The now becomes your lover. The now, you and the now marry each other and create a union that is far more profound than if anything you wanted in your life actually was going to come true. Because that's just stagnant. That's just the old you projecting onto the future, and the future comes true and you're like, but that was the old you that projected onto the future. There's so many iterations of what is about to happen to you, and you have no idea. You have no idea what's going to come next. But the only way you can have no idea is if you have no idea. You drop the idea. You suspend all belief systems. And then you are totally open to what is going to come. But we don't live lives like this. We don't live lives in the now. We live lives in the projection of a very lack-based future. Because in the past we had lack, and if you had lack in your childhood and it's still part of your tape, you're going to project lack into the future. And you think you're really right that, oh, the future is full of lack. You're only projecting lack onto the future because you had lack in your past. Because the future is not lack-based. The future is not even there. Because what is the future? Because today, this moment at 9 o'clock was the future at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And 1 o'clock was the future for 5 o'clock in the morning. But it's gone. It's already 9:30. It's already past. The minute you arrive at the future, it's in the past. So there's no such thing. So all this projection we're doing right now about the future, I'm constantly projecting about the elections in America. I will be honest. What will happen? How will I be? And I've kind of created a plot to go into a bunker if things don't work out how I think they should. So for all my talk, I have to put myself in a straitjacket because I will harm somebody if things don't go how they should go. No, all jokes aside, I'm not dangerous to self or other, but I have created a backup plan of some girlfriends and alcohol if things don't go the way I need them to go. But see, I'm suffering. It's not even happened. It could go for me or against me, but I've already decided that there is a bad outcome. This time I'm justified, I feel. But who's suffering? Is he suffering? She's suffering? Or I'm suffering? I'm suffering. So look, I'm already suffering. Can't stop it though, because I'm terrified. Because I've decided that if things don't go my way, it is death to all. But I don't know that for sure. I just know it based on a lot of evidence. But I don't know it for sure. But I'm living in fear. And this is no way to live. I mean, I've put on 10 pounds. I'm in a bad mood all the time. I'm not pleasant to be around. I'm very angry. All because I'm nervous about the future. Bloody, I could die tomorrow. So fat. All I'm saying is I'm creating my own misery. I know better, but I keep doing it to myself. So, just an honest moment there. Sometimes you can't help but be human. You can't always be some wisdom teacher. So, but anyway, I'm well aware that I've created a mass duality. I've completely bought into good and bad. I think something that will happen, if it happens, is bad. And I'm suffering. See, I just said, if you think something is bad and you're going to think it's going to happen, and if it happens, it's bad, you'll suffer. I'm suffering. So the way out of suffering is to say, let's see. It could be wonderful. It could be amazing. And, no, really, here's the truth. If my outcome doesn't work out my way, which would be a terrible thing indeed, I know what I'm going to do. I've already decided. I will transform this negative disaster, debacle, debauchery, egregious crime, and I will make something amazing out of it. I know I will do that. We will all have to do that. So when something bad happens, say something bad really does happen, something really not good, the power we have to actualize and put into motion, potentialize, is to transform it. And here we have power. Constant transformative power. Because there is no real bad, really, honestly, there is no real bad. There isn't. I teach parents all the time, there is no bad child. And the parent is like, you have not met my child. This child is bad. This child is Damien from that movie, Psycho, whatever, with 777 written on his neck. This kid is bad, Dr. Shefali. This kid bites me, Dr. Shefali. This kid wants to feed me poison. Okay, there's no bad kid, right? I teach parents that there's no bad kid. So in the same way, there's no bad president. We have the power to transform this. So no matter what happens, what I'm trying to say is that no matter what happens, lies continues to have embedded in that our power to transform. So be assured, my fellow Americans, if you know what I'm talking about, we will transform if it goes down. And we will rise above, and we will transcend, and we will create joy where there is none. We have the power. This I know. Even though I will be devastated for 48 hours, I know that we must come back transformed. We must come back energized. The movie I was talking about is a movie on Gloria Steinem called The Glorias, where the father says, if you don't know tomorrow, it could be wonderful. And guys, guess what? The good thing about life, whether we live or die to see it, is that there's always a tomorrow. There's always a tomorrow. So the question to ask yourself is, how am I going to live today if I want my children to be impacted by a powerfully positive tomorrow? That's all we have, is the now. So how can we be in the now? And even when really bad things happen, we have to ask ourselves, is it really bad? Or have I projected some of this internal shoulds, internal belief system onto it that's making it look even more bad? Or is it just really painful? And when we shift from pain is painful, when we shift from pain is bad to pain is painful, our energy shifts. And when we move from pain is bad to pain is painful, we no longer blame someone. When we shift from pain is bad to pain is painful, we lean in to the pain. We allow the pain to talk to us, and we allow ourselves to be transformed by the pain. But as long as we say pain is bad, 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 we will never learn, we will never grow, we will never transform, and we will keep blaming others. Because when we think it's bad, we believe it shouldn't be bad. And something or someone or life has made it bad. And therefore we're in a fight, in a resistance with life and how it gave us what it gave us, and our belief system that it shouldn't have given us what it gives us. And we're in a war. So after the elections, if things don't go my way, I'll be in war. I'll be like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And then I will move from this is bad to this is painful. And once I move to this is painful, then I will transform and I will go, okay, now how do I come back? And how do I fight the good fight? How do I come back? And now how do I be a messenger, messiah, a conduit, a vessel for joy, for harmony, for my children? Now, what can I do with this? Right? And that's where our power lies. No matter what happens, there is power in transforming. So the first shift we have to make is to move from this is bad to this is painful. And then when we make the move, we shed the shoulds and we enter the pain and we feel the pain and we allow the pain to feel us. And then after we've cried and after we've grieved and after we've released and after we've surrendered, then we now ask ourselves, who can I become because of this? Who am I now because of this depth in my life? How can I now become an agent of power, of change, of positivity, of growth, of transformation? But as long as we stick with pain is bad, then we have one finger out and we're full of righteousness and we're full of belief systems and we're full of separation, animosity, looking for someone to blame. So, next time you're in pain, ask yourself, is it because I have bought into an idea that this should not be the way it is, and therefore it's bad? And how can I move into another state? Can I move into the state of this is damn painful, but it is the way it is? And who knows what tomorrow will bring? And since I don't know what tomorrow will bring, it could be amazing, right? And staying in the unknown capacity of that transformation, staying in the unknown of that place, going, I don't know. If I don't know, hey, I have power. The minute you are in the unknown, you have power. You're like, oh, it could go any which way. Let me now execute my power. Let me have undying stamina and an undying exuberance to be an agent of change. You see, if you want to change the world, you can't like give up with one or two wild curves. If you're an activist, you have to be an activist for life. You can't burn out. You can't. You can get a little tired, but you can't burn out. So people in America know exactly what I'm talking about. Whatever it is, we're going to transcend it. Whatever it is, we're going to be more powerful. Whatever it is, we're not going to be defeated, because empowerment is a never-ending journey. You know, Gloria Steinem, the movie I was watching, she was in, you know, the first woman in the 40s, in the 50s, fighting for change and talking about equity for women. So it's a long fight. All these fights for the good are long fights. They don't end in a moment. You know, this is the nature of this dimension. This dimension is forever plagued with hierarchy, with fear, with rigidity, with hatred. This is the eternal battle. It is the battle. So we have to fight the good fight. We can't lose heart. But the only way we can do that is when we stay in the moment, in the here and now, without the rigid ideas of how things should be. And when you're in the moment, your heart is open, you can connect to another because you have no expectation. You're right here, right now, ready to transform. So I will see you next week. Will I see you next week? How about we just do a viral wisdom on Wednesday after the election? Because I don't know whether I could even talk much sense on Sunday. So I'm just going to wait for after the American election and do it on Wednesday the 3rd. I'll announce it on my page. Not like you're waiting with bated breath. Okay, bye guys. Good luck to America. Bye guys. Yep. MM asks, how were we here when Steinem started in the 40s? It's a long fight. We're here to keep on fighting. Bye, guys. I don't know how to turn this off. My thing is not showing an end button. Oh, Jesus. Bye, guys. I don't know how to shut this off today. Oh, there you are.